Hi, everyone. This is Diana Palm, and I am the medium helping you to heal the grief from heartbreak and loss. If you saw the title on my thumbnail, then you already know that this is not a video that all of you should watch. If you're ready for the spiritual truth, then I'm not going to pussyfoot around. I'm just going to dive right in and tell you what is happening and why the bereaved are actually hunted by demons. If some of you, that may sound really bizarre, it might sound like I'm creating fear or drama around loss. And if so, I apologize for the way that that might be impacting you upon you first hearing this. But this is something you need to know so that you can be spiritually prepared to protect yourself and to truly heal so that you're invisible and basically immovable to any kind of dark forces or negative energies. Now, I'm going to have to explain this a little bit because most of you have been socially conditioned to think that grief is a badge of honor and that you should grieve for a very, very long time. But what we know now scientifically is that the energy of grief is a very, very low emotional vibration. The frequency of grief is only 75. Now, when we talk about the energy of love, joy, and peacefulness, we're at 500, 540, 600. When we talk about the energy of enlightenment, it's 700 and plus. Again, grief is only 75. That's a very, very low frequency. The emotion of grief is very, very low. In fact, there are only two things lower than grief, and that's guilt and shame. So if you understand where you're vibrating when you're stuck in an energy of grief, when you're feeling the grief, no wonder you're in an energy that vibrates and attracts dark energy. Their whole job and their whole mission is to prevent you from healing, to prevent you from climbing the ladder of emotional frequency. Because when you're in the energy of love and joy and peace, you're not a good match. You cannot be taken down by those entities. So in those energies, those are people that are thriving, that are in love, that are creating abundance, that are, in their power and they're feeling super connected to the divine. Those are powerful spiritual energies. And that is the goal of every human, to acquire that, to get there, to be able to release the past and the lower vibrations that humans feel, the lower emotions, the unhealed emotions, so that they can naturally rise through the ranks of emotional frequency and actually begin to live their dreams. So when we talk about grief, I actually had a whole different topic that I was going to be talking about today, by the way. And while I was preparing and getting ready, I was in the shower, and this one kind of streamed into my consciousness. My guides, my angels, they brought it to me and they said, reroute, we need to dive in deeper and really shake things up and really help people understand why it is that they want to heal their grief, why they do not want to stay in prolonged grief, why they do not want to say and claim that they will be in grief forever after losing a loved one. And they just really told me, just put it out there. Not everybody will be able to hear this. And that's okay, because the people that I want to talk to right now are people that understand this, the people that are going through this, because you will know, you will resonate with my message, and you will know that you're one of those people that I'm reaching out to right now. So I'm not worried about anybody that this does not resonate with, okay? So I took notes. It just started streaming down and I was like, reroute. Okay. What am I going to, I'll give it to them. The whole truth, nothing but the truth. So this is how it goes. Okay. Demons do hunt the bereaved because they're vulnerable, because their spiritual vibration has them in a state of suffering. And in that state, they're not able to protect themselves spiritually or emotionally. So it makes it really easy prey for them to acquire hauntings, spiritual attack, and to have their life begin to spiral out of control. And that's why when I've worked with people in my number one spiritual grief healing program, I've actually acquired a lot of clients that have been in the state of grief for 10 years, 20 years, not knowing that all the negative influences in their life first came in under the radar back when they were grieving. Because when we're grieving the loss of a loved one, we are in an energy of missing. We miss them so much. And I obviously have lost a lot of people. I know what this feels like. So I'm not belittling this in any way whatsoever. In that state of deep despair and grief, we miss our loved one. We long to connect with them again. We feel a gap in our life, a hole they're missing. And we reflect upon the past. We were happy once. We were in love once. We had this person in our life that made us happy, and now they're missing. And what that does is it prevents us from living in the present moment or making plans for the future. It has us energetically tied to the past where we literally have no power. Whenever we're reflecting back on the past and reliving past memories, we have become absent in the present moment, which makes us weak. Okay. That is one of the ways that they're able to get their claws into your life, and to start making a negative impact in all areas of your life. So that's really important to know, that you want to stay present. Also, spiritual attack, if you're experiencing spiritual attack, you'll know it because there'll be some signs. When you're under spiritual attack after having lost a loved one and experiencing grief, you may have feelings of suicide. You may have already tried to commit suicide. You may think about it all the time. And it may be brought to you in such a way that if you do this, you'll be with your loved one again. That's a lie. You will not be in the same place. Okay. So those of you that have contemplated that and have really considered that, you will not end up in the same place as your loved one who died, no matter how they died, if you commit suicide. So a lot of people that are under spiritual attack contemplate suicide a lot. They are helpless and hopeless. They can't see a way out, and they can't see a path forward. They can't fathom how they can be happy again, or how they can rebuild their life, or make enough money, or fall in love. All of those things seem completely off their life chart. It seems like it's completely taken out of the realm of reality or possibility for them. And that's a big trick. That's a big trick that the negative energy and entities bring to you. So that's one thing to look for. Many other people will begin to overdrink. They'll begin to use drugs or alcohol excessively. That's a way to cover up their feelings, to numb out, to, again, bring them out of the present moment where they're not coping or dealing with their loss. They're numbing themselves out, but that numbing, if you can even think about it, numbs you to the fact that you're beginning to get entities and attachments. They can attach to you very, very easily when you're not sharp, when you're not full of light, when you're not aware spiritually. It's kind of like if you've ever entered a room after somebody's been arguing and you can feel the negativity in the air and you're like, ooh, I don't think I should be in here right now. Okay. But if you're also numb, if you're like drinking and you're high and you walk into a room like that, you're just looking at two people standing in a room. You're totally unaware of the emotions that have occurred. You're unaware of the vibrational frequencies around you, and you may be drawn right into that argument. Okay, so that's where drugs and alcohol numb you out and make you less perceptive of your surroundings and the energies that you're allowing yourself to be a part of. So we also want to look at gambling addictions, sex addictions, or other risky behaviors. So like I said, when you're maybe at a normal state, living in your life at a pretty fair, neutral emotional level, grief drops you down into 75. And this is where a lot of those entities reside and try to keep you there. They do not want you to heal. They do not want you to repair your life. They do not want you to become empowered. and especially not enlightened, because then you're just unreachable for them. Okay. So this is why I work with people in my program called Reconnect, my number one spiritual grief healing program. It's not about just trying to reach the other side and have contact with their loved one. That's a very, very small part of it. Because as a medium and a spiritual healer, I can help you do that. I can help you raise your frequency. That's the goal, to get high enough that you're in the energy and frequency of enlightenment, even a little bit, because then you're not going to be dwelling down at 75 in grief. Part of the process of getting your emotional frequency up to the enlightenment level is reaching for the divine, reaching for your afterlife connection. And as you're moving your energy and frequency up, you're actually becoming more neutralized. Then you're becoming more available for love, feeling love, giving love, just being a loving vibration, a loving being. You're coming into more harmony, more joy, more peace. And all of the good things in the universe are attracted to these frequencies. At the high end of the scale, that's where you attract opportunities, support, soul family. That's where you come into your spiritual gifts. Even though we all have them, to access them, you need to have a higher frequency. So that's why we work on healing the things that keep us in the lowest vibrations. Like I said, the only thing lower than grief is guilt and shame. And oftentimes, guilt and shame both accompany grief, because a lot of the bereaved feel very guilty that they were in an argument with somebody when they died, or they feel guilty because they didn't make it to their bedside before they died. There are many things that keep people vibrating in those very, very low frequencies. And in that frequency, I'll say it again, that is where you are a magnet for demons and negative entities. So in order to protect yourself and heal yourself, yes, those need to be cleared. You need to have a spiritual clearing, but also you need to do the internal healing for long-term lasting results. You want to be able to get your vibrational frequency higher and higher. There's no way to fake it. Okay. I know everyone out there is like, fake it till you make it. The one thing you cannot fake is your own frequency. You can act happy when you're sad. You might even fool a few people, but the spirit world is attuned to your frequency and vibration. You cannot falsify your vibration. Okay. And so you may even have been around people where, they come off as happy all the time, and you can actually, you feel uncomfortable with them because you're like, I kind of feel like they're lying, and it's true because they're trying to project something that they aren't. And that's just a small example. A lot of people put out a false persona. Not everybody needs to get into your inner world. And so I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. Even if you're in a bad mood, you can go do things to uplift yourself and make yourself happy. But what I am saying is that your frequency doesn't change until you change your perspective and do the inner work, do the healing required to help you actually sustain an authentic vibration that's higher than where you're at right now. So there's only one way to do that. You change your perspective, you change your beliefs, you change and heal the things that have held you back and held you bound to lower frequencies and vibrations. Oftentimes I see people that are ready for this, and one of the first things we do need to do is a deep spiritual cleansing, a very deep shift to get all the attachments off of them so they can even access the light again. And when they access the light, they begin to feel the healing. That's when the healing begins. They get to get the light in their body again. This helps them improve their perspective, their energy, their frequency, the thoughts, their beliefs begin to shift and change, and they begin to climb that ladder. So that's what the real work is about when you've lost a loved one. It's about healing your grief. And it's about your own unique path in learning how to raise your frequency and vibration and be sure that you are not a perfect match for the attachments, demons, and dark entities. If you have been having a lot of nightmares after losing a loved one, that's a good indication that they are trying to attack you right now. They're trying to get into your field. They're trying to affect your energy and keep you in a state of grief and suffering. So if you're having nightmares, that's a good sign to look for. If you're having a lot of sleepless nights, just really restless and you can't find any peace. Again, peace is, let's see, 600. Peace vibrates at 600. So if you can't find any peace, okay, if your peace is disrupted, you know you're lower, right? If you're not in the energy of love and vibrating in that level, you know you're lower. If you're not neutral, you're lower, and so that will give you an indication, uh-oh, there's some healing I need to do. There's something I need to shift within me. I need to heal these parts of me that are suffering and longing for someone that's not here and longing for the past that's no longer available. So coming back into the present moment is where you have all the power. So when you're restless, you can't sleep, you have no peace in your life, that's another good indication that you have attachments or negative entities trying to keep you in a state of unease and grief. If you're consumed with anger or blame, that's a good indication that you're also under spiritual attack. If you are yelling at your wife, if you're finding other reasons to be angry that your life isn't going the way you want to, you don't have enough money, this is all part of the same package. This means you're under spiritual attack. When you're under spiritual attack, you'll be challenged to, first of all, you'll be challenged in your faith. Okay. When you're giving into it, let's go this way. When you're giving into the dark energies, you will fall into the gap. You'll fall into the void and you'll make excuses and reasons for why you're mad at everybody, or you're blaming somebody, or it's her fault, or it's his fault, or I don't have enough money and it's their fault. You will feel crappy. Your physical body will ache. You'll carry physical pain within your body. You could have nightmares, not sleep, all the things, right? And what people do often during this time is they want to reach for medication. They go to the doctor and they explain the symptoms. And a lot of times in the way that we're currently living, they'll get a medication of some sort. Again, what is the medication going to do? If it's numbing those feelings that are so raw, it's just like the alcohol. It's numbing your perceptivity and making you more receptive to entities and attachments. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional, but I do know that when you're on medication, you are more susceptible to a dark infestation and attachment, demons and entities taking over and ruling your life. You will not have the spiritual strength to fight them off, to find your divine connection, and to stay in an energy of faith when you're being dumbed down, when your energy is lower, your frequency is lower, and your receptivity and perception is off. So, always talk to your doctor if you're thinking about getting off medication, of course. Do it in a way that's healthy for you, but understand that if you are on medication, that may be part of your problem, or the prolonged energy of suffering. That could be part of the reason. So I've been working with the bereaved for over 30 years, and I see and know what they do with their feelings and emotions and the energies connected to loss. I know how when they blame somebody and put all their anger on one person, where they really bury it within themselves and where that energy hovers and hides within the body, making it sick. I see people that avoid dealing with it, or they don't know how to be happy again, and they don't know how to stay in the present moment. Many don't know how to make plans for their future. So it's very important that if you're participating in behaviors that are destructive right now while you're suffering, just look at it. Don't create fear around it. Just look at it and know that you've been under a very negative influence. And it's time for you to pay attention to your spiritual energy and vibration. It's time for you to pay attention to what's going on spiritually within your life, to heal your wounded heart, to clear the spiritual entities, to shift your perspective around your loss and to reach for your divine connection so that you can actually raise into a higher frequency and vibration where you actually will get afterlife signs and symbols from your loved one, the past, letting you know they're still with you. So that connection will become strengthened by you raising your frequency. So all of these things, they're personal, they're individual, they're unique, but yet in the 30 years I've worked with people, I know specifically what things to look for because there are specific things where I see people getting stuck in certain patterns that prevent them from truly healing and embracing a really happy, wonderful, abundant, love-filled life. I see them maybe shift one area of their life while they let another area die. So when you're under this influence, again, you might begin fighting with your partner. You might be on the verge of divorce. And divorce causes what? More financial instability. So all of a sudden you'll have money problems also. And then you won't know where to live. And then you have to start over. And that creates another level of instability. Oh, the demons love that. They love to see you implode on yourself and screw up the lives of those you love. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how you're behaving, how you're showing up in your own energy and in your life, how you are impacting those around you. Because if you operate out of a higher frequency and vibration, even though you have gone through a loss and it's extremely painful, when you're able to heal that within yourself and you're able to stay in a high vibration and frequency, you'll be able to hold the light for everyone in your family. You'll be able to still be attuned to opportunities to move forward, better opportunities, more love, more connection, more soul family. You'll be able to be the anchor that your family really needs you to be. And in that, you'll teach them how to do the same things for themselves. So that's where we really strengthen our connection with the divine. We strengthen our faith. We live by faith. We keep our spiritual energy clear. We have a good connection with God. We know that everything is in divine timing. You will see your loved ones again. And there's a real knowing and a strength in that. And again, at that vibration, you're just invisible to the dark forces. They don't worry about you, okay? Because they don't want to come up against something that's too solid. They really like easy prey. They're like, oh, that's easy pickings over there. Here's a whole collective group over here that's suffering. Okay, the vibration's super low over there. I'll go pick 5 of them tonight, you know? They are not going to come after people who are clear within, who are connected, who are in faith, and who are operating in a space of love. It just doesn't happen. So that's truly the best protection you can get from demons and negative entities. I'm checking over my notes here. Yeah, I mean, there's things that you do want to look at part of your healing process. If you're doing this on your own, you really want to look at the life lessons that you received from the life experience you shared with your departed loved one. You want to shift the way you experience loss. You want to come back into alignment where you're so appreciative and grateful for their experience. We are all temporary to each other in the physical, but in the spirit world, we're permanent to each other. You were together before you chose to come here onto the physical, and one of you left. But then when the second one leaves, eventually through natural circumstances, you will both be together again. Okay, so we are always connected. The things that pull us away from that, like I mentioned earlier, were suicide. When we commit suicide, we break a soul contract. We never write that into our chart. And so we actually fall to a different place. And yes, you can do soul retrieval for anyone you know that committed suicide that didn't ascend to the same place as the rest of their loved ones. Soul retrieval is very powerful. It's so helpful for your entire genetic family line and any loved ones who are still suffering because of this type of loss. You want to do that spiritual healing and elevate them spiritually, put them where they need to be. And then it's much easier for the rest of the loved ones to heal in an appropriate way. So look at those energies within yourself. figure out where you're vibrating. If you're hovering down with guilt, shame, and grief, or if you're vibrating super high with like love and joy and enlightenment, you've got your spiritual clarity, your connection, and all the energies flowing through your life. Signs of that will be more abundance, brighter health, more opportunities, more love. Okay. So you can assess that for yourself. You can do the work yourself, although I do advise getting some spiritual help with this, somebody that specifically works with these energies, making sure that you're not getting stuck in any of the lower vibrations. There's help for you. There's all kinds of help for you. We've never been in a time, actually, as far as not just my life, but in the timeline of recorded human history. We have never been in such a time as this, where there are so many rampant causes for spiritual attack and low vibrations. We have never been in a time with so many suicides and so many drug addictions, so many gambling addictions, and people have fallen away from their divine connection. And it doesn't matter what religion you call it. It doesn't matter what dogma you want to call it. They have just lost their center. And of course, with all the media and things going on in the world, it causes more fear. It actually just causes harm to the spiritual vibration of each individual person. So do what you need to do to stay in a space of clarity with yourself. Do what you need to do through meditation, healthier eating, your environment, who you surround yourself with, which TV shows do you watch, spend some time in prayer or some time in nature. Do all these things to shift and calibrate you, because you are super important and you are in charge of your own frequency and vibration. It's nobody else's fault if you come to a low level. Even in an abuse situation, if the victim stays in a situation where they're being abused and does not shift their frequency, does not empower themselves, does not change their beliefs, does not understand their self-worth, and they stay put, now it's their fault that they're still in a low vibration. So one has to do the internal work. You either have to leave or you have to do the internal work and shift the dynamics within that home. It's up to you. If you need spiritual help, reach out to me. My website is www.dianapalm.com. And I specifically want to work with you through your healing of grief. I want to see you get into those higher vibrations. I want to see you have all your dreams come true. I want to see you just be happy and filled with joy and love again. I want to see you all enlightened in the highest and best way that you can in this particular existence. And I believe in you. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments on this particular episode. If I ruffled your feathers, if I caused anyone to worry about this, I just want to let you know you don't need to worry. It's just a matter of knowing the truth so that you can take action and do something about it. All right, you guys, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.